Hello everyone, I'm Father Andrian, and in this video I'm going to present my presentation of chapter 4 from the book Introducing Comparative Literature, World Literature, World Literature as a Comparative Practice. For some 185 years now, world literature has been the name for a way of thinking about comparative literature that has issued variously in a conception of the worldwide field of cultural exchange, a horizon for literary evaluation, a canon for purposes of reading and teaching, a pedagogical program, and a field of research. World literature is always, as Goethe said in 1827, about to arrive. It is an object of desire, a feature of completeness, a standard of unattainable achievement, whatever the purposes behind its articulation at a given time. The concept of world literature has served repeatedly to define linkage between literary study and whatever is supposed to lie outside the literary field. Its word in a formal and logical sense. The effect of demanding recognition for world literature is to see what our previous idea about literature have made it easy for us to ignore and go beyond these limits. Uh, Globalization raises a few writers to unforeseen heights, and yet the literary, as Moretti observes, regorges with unread books. We claim to study the novel, but most of us are deeply acquainted with no more than a handful of novels in the most easily accessible languages. The historical and geographical vastness of actually published fiction baffles us. Murthy proposes dealing with its enormous archive by dividing the labor of reading. The critic or theorist of world literature will no longer read literary works. A multitude of readers skilled in the local languages and forms of the various literature will read thousands of novels and write summaries, data points, or reports. The theorists combining the hundreds of reports already a significant feat of reading will be in a position to work out the laws of world literature without a single direct textual reading. Morty is unconcerned by the possibility that any of these local experts may be wrong about the primary text, and thus in fact the higher level discussion with error. The concord of the multitude will serve as proof that the analyses are globally correct. World literature is one of those concepts that without example is inane, but once it has, I'm sorry, uh, without example is insane, but once it has begun to be understood through examples, it runs the risk of becoming hostage to this or that prestigious example. So the only way to make progress in understanding the phenomenon to which the phrase refers to keep on adding concepts, letting them cancel out or reinforce the influence that they may severally have on the general concept, choosing the core example of a program of research or teaching in world literature may be the most significant intervention the researcher makes. But that example must be followed with others. The more challenging and resistant, the better. The usual example around which world literature is theorized, the modern novel conforms to the expected pattern originating in Europe. It is carried to Africa, to Asia, to the Middle East by colonial bureaucracies or by indigenous intellectual reformers. But this is to define novel in a curiously tautologous way. Content of world literature. First, poetry. Poetry it is often said, resist translation, but the forms of poetry are notoriously contagious, especially when allied to music. A history of poetry and rhyme might begin in ancient China, where the bronze inscription and dynastic hymns of the Zhou turned increasingly over the period 1000 to 400 BCE to rhyming lines of equal length arranged in four-line stanzas, a form of densely allusive poetry with recurrent verses and rhymes. The pantun seems to have been carried from the Malaya archipelago to Madagascar centuries ago, where it is known as Hainteni. It was taken up in 19th century European poetry from philological descriptions. In such restrictions, it is unlikely that much of the content migrates with the form, but perhaps the form generates an appropriate content in each new place and language to which it comes. Often too, new poetic forms are generated out of the contact between languages. Second, fable. To take animal fable or poetic form as the core of our literary history, however, would mean discarding the units of accounts by which we are used to evaluating literary notoriety. The author, the world, the nation, as in linguistics, as in folklore or comparative mythology, or attention will have to be drawn to a replicating bundle of features always on the move and ceaselessly changing. The text at hand in this discipline is only an index. Close reading does not exaggerate the text's uniqueness, but seeks to reveal the importance of a detail by noting its recurrent survival or regular patterns of change. All right, that's the presentation of chapter 4 of introducing comparative literature. Thank you.